Have you ever been to a live concert where the vocalist or the singer just didn't seem to be as good as what they were on the record? It's quite a common complaint from people. In defense of the artist, I'm going to show you today what goes into the processing of a vocal and why it is that somebody on stage just cannot compete to what's been done in the studio. So it's often nothing to do with the talent or the ability of the singer, but it's the amount of processing that is actually done in that stage in the studio. So what I tend to do when I'm recording vocals is we do lots of takes and then I assemble a cut of all the best bits together. So this can be down to like word by word, and so I chop this all up into these phrases or words, removing things like breaths and clicks and pops. So that's done manually. That's the first stage. The next stage that I would do after that is then pitch correction. Sometimes you can use auto-tune. I don't particularly like the sound of auto-tune, so I don't really use it, but I use something called Melodyne, which is this piece of software here. Now, everybody goes through pitch correction because we're so used to hearing it these days, but it's not just literally moving notes up and down to put them in key. It's also doing things like straightening out the notes. It's also lengthening notes, so to give it a bit more impact. So sometimes I'll lengthen a word just to stretch it out and give it a bit more impact at the end. And I can also retime it here as well to make sure that every single note lands in the right spot. And it's important to do this because this is really just the first stage. We're going to have a stack of vocals, one on top of each other. And so if one of them's out of time or misaligned, then you will hear it and it's going to start to sound sloppy. So this is one of the first and probably one of the most important stages here. The next stage I do after that is then EQing it. So I take out all the low end rumble here with a basic EQ just to kind of make it sound a bit better. This is my first stage EQ. I'll then run it through some compression as well. So this is a Manley Vox Box, it's called, which is really optimized for doing vocals. And this helps to kind of make sure all the volumes are at the same level. And then I'll go into some second stage compression as well, which is giving a little bit more leveling as well, just to kind of smooth it off so we get a nice even vocal. The next stage after that, once I've got it, is I bounce it down into one audio file. So that's really kind of an amalgamation of all those edits that I've done, put it into one file, and then I can start doing some creative effects onto it. In Izzy's case, for instance, because she's a classically trained singer, she's a soprano, and we're doing pop EDM style music, I need to give it a bit more thickening and a bit more punch to make it sort of a bit more diva-y. And so I've added a bit of saturation here, a little bit of chorus, but this is literally just the first stage. It's quite possible that we could end up with 10 or 15 or more tracks by the end, and then we'll merge that down and run effects over that again. To most people, it will just sound like she's singing and they won't know that there's all this processing that's been done all the way through.